Well, thinking back, my grandfather set a legacy for us because he built a cabin on Lake Pekagama near Grand Rapids, and our family would go up there two weeks every year. I grew up with 4 brothers. I was the only girl, and my dad would take my brothers fishing, but not me so much, the kid sister, which was disappointing. I would lay on the dock and watch them out there wishing that I was out there. But that's where my love of the outdoors began. It was just idyllic, the campfires on the beach and fishing off the dock and swimming and getting sunburned, all that kind of thing. I loved the cabin, it was great, but I didn't get to fish very much. But once I got into college, I had some more autonomy, and I joined a group called the Minnesota Rovers, and I was fishing on a canoe trip up north, and I saw this old guy who was standing, he had a whole stringer of fish, but he was standing on the shore and he would fan cast. He would cast, 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 and he told me to buy a Mitchell 300 reel and told me what rod to get. So I went home, bought that equipment, and a short time later there was a fishing tournament on Lake Minnetonka, and I signed up and ended up being paired up with Sybil Smith. We went out and fished and caught a few fish, and I was absolutely amazed when I ended up winning that fishing tournament, and I won a fly-in fishing trip into Canada. Well, you could say I was hooked. That was just the beginning of wanting to fish. Here, fishy, fishy. You gotta know how to call them. I love that arc off the bottom there. A short time later, my husband and I decided we'd like to buy a cabin. One of the lakes we looked at was Upper Eau Claire. We had to find a piece of property that we could afford. So we stayed in this really old log cabin, and which is what we had purchased. And for 2 years, I did not catch a fish. I would go out and try and try and try. So I started reading the In-Fisherman magazines, Fishing Facts. I have all of those back issues, but the one that really influenced me was the Buck Perry structure fishing. So that is really at the core of my fishing. So I started using spoon plugs and ended up entering a tournament on Chisago Lake and ended up pulling in a big fish with a spoon plug and won a Lund boat motor and trailer. So that was a wonderful boat to have won it. Lund is such a great brand, has such a, so well known in Minnesota. What an amazing state we live in. I just feel so blessed to live in this state with so many lakes. I love to learn. I've been to many fishing camps. I've been to the Ultimate Fishing Camp 3 times. I was at the beginning Camp Fish and in fisherman schools way back when I was younger. So somehow I've transitioned from my teaching music to teaching fishing camps, and I've been invited to do seminars, and I'm so wanting to be a role model for women that like the outdoors and like to fish. I would like husbands and fathers and grandfathers to think about their wives and their sisters and their children and their grandchildren and pulling them into this absolutely amazing world of the outdoors. So I've been doing a lot of fishing. Being at the camps, you get to sit in different boats and see how they're rigged, and do you want to have a tiller? Do you want to have a console? What do you want? So I looked at a lot of dealers. I looked at Skeeters and Warriors and Rangers, but I really gravitated toward Lund. What a great boat. What a wonderful company. And so I ended up buying a Lund 1875 Pro V, and it is a fishing machine. I have boat control that's just extraordinary. That's one of the key points in being a good fisherman. You just need to be able to stay on the fish. But by far the biggest change I saw in my career as a teacher was in technology. Well, that same change in technology has happened in fishing. I mean, in the beginning, my dad would be lining up on a pine tree and lining up on a water tower and going out a certain distance. But now he would be spellbound by the whole world of technology. I just love putting my educator lens on the fishing world and what can we do to bring anglers together, and how can we learn from each other. And we need to be getting more people more young people into fishing. That's part of my passion for wanting to be a role model for young people and getting them out in the boat. My son, he used to be my young angling son. I used to take him up into Lac La Croix. We'd travel by boat, and now he's a great fishing partner. Now he has children, so that legacy will be continued on. Speaking of legacies, my grandfather left a wonderful legacy for our family, building that cabin in Grand Rapids on Lake Pekegama. The legacy I'm hoping to leave is to my son, who loves to fish. So I'm sure I have the boat in my son's name. It will be passed to him, and hopefully he'll be paying it forward or passing it on to his children at some point.